Hey dudes, Sean from Varasonic has asked me to do some mastering on his album. Should we have a look? Because it's got some cool stuff, some proper, really cool stuff. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so I got an instance of iZotope's Ozone 11. I think it's 11. It's brand new. First of all, is this new one called Stem Plugin, and this is like proper voodoo shit. Like, look. It basically isolates the vocals, bass, drums, or everything else into stems within the plugin. So if I hit solo here, I never knew anyone. We've just got the vocals. So what I've done here on this one is I've taken a little bit of top end off the vocals. In the bass, I've done a little bit of dipping right down the low end just to move some of the bass out of the way of the kick. The drums, I've actually dropped the level by a dB. And what I've done here is I've picked out a frequency that was bothering me around the kick down here. And I've also taken a little bit off the top where the cymbals and hi-hats are, and some of the hi-hats were just poking through a little bit too much. Next up, I've got an equalizer, and what I'm doing here is I'm doing some mid-side processing. In the mids, I'm doing a little bit of the boost on the bass and a little bit of a drop on the high end. On the sides though, I'm kind of doing the opposite. What that's doing is really focusing the kick and the bass tones to the center, and also then sort of bringing some width by just boosting the highs a bit. Then I've got another EQ that's just across the whole band. So one of the requests from Varasonic was to listen to Siamese Dream by Smashing Pumpkins, because that was kind of sound he really liked. And so what I have done here is I've just poked it now a little bit towards that sort of Siamese Dream, Smashing Pumpkins vibe from the early 90s, which maybe I'll show you how I did that in another video. Anyway, then I've got this other new sort of plugin in iZotope called Bass Control. And what I've noticed is it really sort of adds some clarity to the bass. It also sort of helps the bass translate to different speakers a bit more. So, you know, if you're listening on a mobile phone, you know, the bass won't completely disappear. Then we've got an imager. It's multi-band imager. We're adding quite a lot more width to the top, not so much to the high mids and the low mids, and none at all to the bass. Then we've got another plugin called Clarity. This is adding just a bit of sort of reactive sheen. I've got a stabilizer here set on the rock preset, and what that's doing is basically some sort of dynamic EQ dipping, just to knock out a few errant frequencies, just a little bit, 1 or 2 dBs. Got another dynamic EQ that's just addressing a few final frequency build-ups. And then we've got the maximizer or limiter. I'm using the IRC4 modern mode with true peak on. I'm aiming for a sort of around about minus 9.5 LUFS for this record. I've got a little bit of upward compression just to help bring up any of the lows. A little bit of soft clip because still some of the drums and the snares were just a little bit pokey, and the soft clip just helps smooth some of that off. And yeah, that's about it. Bye.